3 tips for dealing with silence in a conversation. Quick story. Long time ago, maybe 2 decades ago, I see this girl every time when I take the bus to go to work. And she's so cute, and I want to say something to her, and I don't know if I should do it. And blah. Eventually, I muster up the courage to do it, right? And so she sits at the bus stop, and we make eye contact, and I go sit next to her, and I say, "Good morning." And she's like, "Oh, good morning." And then there was silence, and I sat next to her, and I cringed, and I felt awkward, and I was in my head berating myself about how I wasn't saying something and how it had already been so long since I opened up with saying good morning and what she must be thinking about me at that moment. And I started worrying about all sorts of things and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is just one example. I experienced that much more often, where there was a silence in the conversation and I would start to feel awkward and cringy, and I felt the need to fill up the silence and ask a question or say something. And the longer it was silence, the more pressure there would build, and I'd feel this awkwardness. Now, there are actually a couple of common problems that are going on when there is silence in a conversation, and I'm going to go over these rapid fire. 1, worrying. You might worry that you've done something wrong or said something offensive or have been uninteresting, and this can cause you to have a really difficult time with a silence. 2, fear of awkwardness. The silence to you might feel like there's some discomfort or disconnection, and that then triggers that fear of awkwardness, making it very difficult to deal with the silence. 3, pressure to fill the silence. Now, this is kind of what I gave as my example. I felt huge pressure to fill in the silence, to ask a question or say something interesting or come up with stuff. Well, when that's going on, it makes it very hard. 4, self-consciousness. Now, when you're dealing with self-consciousness as a problem yourself already, then a silence will just put the spotlight on that. And now you're like, oh, it's silent. Everyone's observing me now, and I haven't said anything already for like 7 seconds. 5, misinterpreting. You might misinterpret a silence to mean the other person is not interested in me, or that person is disapproving of me or rejecting me. 6, fear of negative judgment. What might make the silence unbearable is thinking in your mind that the other person is busy forming a negative opinion of you. 7, insecurity about your social skills. Now, the silence might have you worry that you don't have the right social skills, or that you didn't ask the right question, or that you were weird or awkward or uncomfortable, and so on. Now, what you want to do in order to be comfortable with silence is actually something that you can't just resolve with tricks. I'm going to give you a quick mindset and 2 strategies, but what you actually want to do is you want to look at the underlying reasons for why you're dealing with this. I'll get to that in a second. Let's get to the 3 quick fixes first. 1, accept the silence. Look, the reality is silence is part of conversation. It's normal. And sometimes there simply isn't anything going on. You know, you run out of things to say. It happens for me. It happens for other people. It happens in conversation. It's normal. So don't freak out about it. Allow it to be accepted. You know, a couple of months ago, I particularly remember having a conversation with this girl at the dance. And we're standing along the side and, you know, we're briefly chatting. It's kind of superficial. And I asked her a question. She asked me a question. And then, you know, there was just a bunch of silence for a while. Of course, the music is playing in the background. And then, you know, I was like, I'm not going to fill this in. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. And guess what? 15, 20 seconds later, she turns to me and she asks me a question. That's typically how it gets resolved. It's not your 100% responsibility to fill in the silence. It's 50-50. 2, ask an open-ended question. Kind of what the girl did, she asked me an open-ended question. So an open-ended question is, of course, a question that you can't say yes or no to. Are you from here? Yes. Okay, that ends it. Where are you from? is more open-ended. The person might still say, I'm from here, but what do you like to do for fun is an open question. Do you find this fun? That's a closed question. So you can ask an open-ended question. 3, share something. You can share something personal. Anything about the environment that you're noticing, anything that happened earlier that day. People don't care. If you open your mind, you just start talking, everything's fine. But all of these 3 tips, these are just surface level tips. The problem is actually deeper. There is a belief system that is causing you to not be okay with silence. There are emotions and self-consciousness that gets triggered inside of you when those moments are there. There's the worry about being judged. That stuff is not resolved with techniques. That stuff is resolved by doing inner work, facing your demons, processing your stuck emotions. And that can be quite easy and effectively done by using tapping. Now, if you want to learn how to do that, how to actually become comfortable with silences, and not just with silences, just comfortable in social situations, you can get my free mini course, 7 Secrets to Social Confidence, by going to bit.ly/social confidence now. That is bit.ly/social confidence now. Got any questions? Put them in the chat. If you want to be inspired, check out one of these interviews here with former social anxiety disorder sufferers that used to have big trouble with silence in conversation and lots of other issues socially, and now they're calm, confident, and at ease. Go check them out. They're super inspiring. Hope this helped you. Talk to you very soon. Bye for now.